Hello, and thanks for joining us today. I'm State Representative Marcia Hahn from the 138th Legislative District. Tourism in the United States is a large industry that serves millions of international and domestic tourists yearly. Closer to home, tourism is big business in Northampton County as well as throughout Pennsylvania. Joining me to talk about the industry is Majority Chairman of the House Tourism and Recreational Development Committee, State Representative Jerry Stern, my colleague from the 80th Legislative District. Jerry, thank you for joining me here today. And before we get started talking about tourism, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I've been in the House this is my 11th term. This is my second term as chairman of the Tourism Committee, and it's one of the committees, whenever they ask what committee I would like to serve on. Of course, in my area, it's a big agriculture area. I liked agriculture, but there was already an ag chairman, so we didn't have a tourism chairman, so I thought what a better committee than to serve the number 2 industry in Pennsylvania, tourism, and I asked to serve on tourism, and we have, it's just been a great learning experience for me, seeing the many entities in Pennsylvania and all the things that Pennsylvania offers tourism and for our tourists. And so it's been a great learning experience for me. And it's good to have new members such as yourself on the committee. And so it's a learning experience for both of us.
It is, and I was very glad to get put on that committee. I am on agriculture as well, which is also a big industry in my district. So again, tourism was one new committee for me this time, so I'm very happy to be there. What are some of the specific issues with tourism that you think we're going to be facing this year?
Well, it's something that we were working on last session. What I've noticed in the years since I've been in Harrisburg, we have governors, historically, they've been in office for about 8 years, 2 terms generally. And so a governor will take a typical tourism issue and he'll drive whatever that agenda may be for 4 years. And then another 4 years. So 8 years we have one governor going in one direction, and then we have a new governor. So then we move in a different direction with tourism. Similar to education, how we just change education priorities with different governors. Tourism, I always felt, Marcia, was one of those areas that was something that we needed to keep a steady focus on. And we also needed to market it properly. Whenever you think of Hershey, and you think of Hershey Entertainment, what do you think of? You think of what?
Hershey, chocolate.
Chocolate.
And the park. Those are my...
And the park, and they've had a theme, sweetest place on earth, for 25 years. So anyone outside of Hershey knows of chocolate, the sweetest place on earth, and they also know of the rides at Hershey Park. That's the theme that they have focused on the private sector for years and years and years. What we focused on last session, we had all the tourism groups come together. We had all the TPA directors from every county. There's about 48 in Pennsylvania. They promote their regions. You have one, of course, in the Lehigh and Northampton area. And they do a great job for your region. But we need to market all of Pennsylvania. I always liken it to a mall, where you bring people into a mall, but you may have a store in the mall. Well, you have all the entities that you have in Northampton County that you want to promote, tourism things that no one else knows about. And you can describe some of those entities here in a little bit if you want. But getting them there is the key. And bringing outside visitors to PA is really Pennsylvania's job to do that. So we need to market the state better. So last year we came up with a private-public partnership to get the state out of the marketing business and let the private sector, the tourism people, the people that make money at this, that depend on this for their livelihoods, let them do the promotion. That was the whole concept behind the private-public partnership. And the governor would like to do it, but I'd like to get it implemented sooner than later. They have a long-term plan. I'd like to move that up and make it more immediate so that it impacts our tourism industry now.
Great. Those of us who are Pennsylvania residents probably don't realize how important tourism is, but could you tell us about the impact on our state?
Well, when you look at the economy, as you know, agriculture is number one. Agriculture is around a $40-some billion industry, about $44 billion, I believe, agriculture. When you throw tourism in, it's $38 billion. I mean, it's not that far off of agriculture. And you know as well as I know, agriculture now is forming coalitions with tourism to promote what? Ag tourism. So you have that going on in your district right now. So when you put the two together, tourism is right up close to agriculture being our 1 and 2 industries. So when you look at the economic impact and the jobs, about 461,000 jobs in Pennsylvania. The average wage with those making or working in tourism is $15 an hour, the average. And off the ones that supply the tourism industry, those wages are about $27 an hour. Good paying jobs, good industry, and most of these individuals that we're trying to bring into Pennsylvania are out-of-state visitors. Local revenue and state tax revenue alone, $3.5 billion a year go into Pennsylvania's treasury out of our $28 billion budget from tourism alone.
That's amazing. From a tourism standpoint, what are Pennsylvania's biggest assets?
It's just our diversity. We have everything. We have history. We have scenic functions. This year, for example, 150th anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg. So we're going to have people from all over the world descending on Gettysburg. Actually, we're having a committee hearing in Gettysburg, and they have yet to unveil one of their museums out there. We're going to go to Gettysburg, see the unveiling of the museum, and see how they're planning to prepare for this onslaught of millions of visitors that will be descending upon that little tiny village this year, celebrating the 150th. But also, this year also with Gettysburg, you have Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. It's another 150th anniversary of something that we don't think about, but yet they're going to have special celebration for that. Amusement parks. We have like 16 amusement parks in Pennsylvania. I think one closest to where you're at down there is probably Dorney Park.
Dorney.
And Dorney's just a big attraction, as you know, in your area. So you have that. You have your trails. We have state parks. We have a whole system of trails and snowmobile places for snowmobile riders, four-wheelers. People like to just go out and enjoy nature. I mean, you name it, we have it in Pennsylvania. And we have some of the finest restaurants, some of the finest wineries in the whole country. They talk about going to California. You don't have to go to California. Just stay right here in Pennsylvania.
You're right, and I do look forward to the trip to Gettysburg. I've been out there, but I look forward to seeing the new area that's opening up. I want to thank you for appointing me chairman of the subcommittee on travel promotion for history and heritage. Probably in my roots, I have a great uncle, Asa K. McElhaney, who was a great historian in Northampton County. Bath Borough just celebrated their 275th anniversary. I'm a resident there. And we have an area rich in history. We have probably one of the oldest cemeteries. And these are things that I think students don't know about and that I'd like to promote, the history of it. The first woman who was killed by Indians in that area, in the Irish settlement, is buried in East Allen Township. And we have a gun factory at Jacobsburg Historical Society. And they promote, the society promotes the revolution and the Industrial Revolution and the ironworks and things. Governor Wolfe Historical Society is an honor, and they're promoting Governor Wolfe, who was a governor from my area and was governor for two terms, I believe, here in Harrisburg. So a lot of things that you don't even realize, you just find out, and I think it would be good to have the students come out and see all those spots. And I think schools do a good job of promoting that, but I think the focus on families sometimes are the parks and those things, but I think we need to promote the historical end of the
Well, I'm looking forward. I think as subcommittee chairman, that's an opportunity for you to kind of define how you want to operate that subcommittee and use that to the benefit of teaching our children of what the historic artifacts are and our history and our heritage.
And I look forward, you're having a tour or committee meeting in the Lehigh Valley, so I look forward to getting out to some of those places of interest that are in Northampton County and showing you those as well. But I think, what impact has the internet had on Pennsylvania tourism?
The internet, of course, is a key factor. The majority of the people that visit Pennsylvania do so because of our website. And that's really the focus of most of our tourism promotion in Pennsylvania. Many of us would like to see more money set aside so that we can do what Michigan is doing to us and advertise in other states instead of having them advertise for our residents to visit another area. So One of the proposals that was brought forth, and I believe you supported that concept, Marcia, was the tax credit for tourism. And we're trying to get together a tax credit would be a dollar per dollar match that would allow Pennsylvania to advertise Pennsylvania. But you would only get that if you put it into this private-public partnership of the tourism experts that would end up promoting tourism. So we're looking at that, but the governor's office right now, they're not real keen on supporting another tax credit. You understand we've done a lot of tax credits the last couple years, and I can understand that, but trying to find a funding source so we can advertise Pennsylvania in all aspects, not just the internet, but in other areas as well. Some of that is electronic, some of that's advertising in other states on their television. Some of it's taking out ads in New York and other places, even in their subways, telling them to visit Gettysburg. Anything to get the message out, to have them come to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I think that's very important, to promote it and get the message out and have them go. I like to go on the tourism site and myself and take day trips. I think that's important, especially with the economy now. You have people that take longer trips, but if you can find something close to home and be able to make it in a day or two, I think that's great. And last session was the first time I actually got to Pittsburgh and Erie. I went to the other side of the state, so it's the first time I ever really toured Pennsylvania. So I want to put that in my list of things to do when I have some time and see other areas of interest. How competitive do you think the tourism business?
There again, I think it's very competitive when you look at the limited amount of dollars, and every state believes that they want to attract those visitors to their area. The advantage of tourism and bringing in either international visitors or out-of-state visitors is that that's new tax revenue that you're generating for your state. And there's no overhead for the most part, other than maybe them using the roads and the fixtures that you have. But for the most part, they spend their money, they take extended tours, a lot of international travels. They stay here for sometimes as much as 10 days. And so that's 10 days, looking for things to do. And that's what we need to do, is to capture those dollars and keep them here rather than sharing those with other places. And we can do that. But going on in-house day tours is a great thing to do. We started doing that, my wife and I, a couple years ago, and we would take her parents or my parents on a day trip. And we would go visit a certain area and view a destination, take them out to a nice lunch or someplace at someplace where they would probably never eat again. But we've found some of the quaintest, nicest places in Pennsylvania out of the way that we would have never normally gone to. But yeah, you can plan those day trips, and they're very, very good to do.
And in Northampton County, we're close to New York, New Jersey. They can easily take day trips from the other states and come in,
Sure.
to the Lehigh Valley. So I think that's important as well. Funding for tourism has fallen drastically since the year 2000. And last session, you introduced two pieces of legislation which attempted to address that. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that legislation?
Well, the one was the tax credit for $15 million for a tax credit program that would allow a dollar per dollar match. Basically, it's a $30 million match. $15 million for tax credit the state would give you, $15 million that the private sector would contribute. So it would add $30 million to the equation to promote tourism. That was the first one, and the other one was a private-public partnership to get the state out of the advertising, marketing business and put it in the hands of the private sector. That board would be made up of 11 different members appointed by this legislation from all key areas. And I had a copy of that here. I just wanted to mention there would be one from hotel and travel lodging, one from restaurant, taverns, and eating establishments, one from retail shopping, one from recreation and entertainment, one from transportation, and there would be 3 members at large with at least 10 years marketing or advertising experience, and then 3 members representing the local tourism promotion agencies, one from a Class A county, one from a 3rd, 4th, or 5th class county, one from a smaller county, 6th, 7th, or 8th. So it's well represented, large, medium, small, and then every avenue that's impacted by tourism would be part of this commission. And it's only 11 members. And then, of course, there'd be oversight by the committee chair and officials by the governor, DCED secretary, and ex officios that wouldn't make the decisions, but we would oversee what they would do.
Okay. We need to take a short break. Legislative report will return in a moment.
Did you know that the chamber of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives contains a painting depicting the 24 hours of the day? Located in the center of the ceiling, the mural titled The Hours was created by artist Edwin Austin Abbey. This wonderful masterpiece charts the setting of the sun, moon, and the many stars that grace the heavens. 24 maidens, who each represent an hour of the day, begin each day in light and gladness and ends in solemn drapery carried on still shoulders. Now you know.
Did you know that Violet Oakley was the first female artist to receive a large commission for artwork done in a United States Capitol building? In 1902, Joseph Houston, designer and architect for the 3rd Harrisburg Capitol building, commissioned Violet Oakley to paint murals for the governor's reception room. He believed that Oakley's contribution would add interest to the building and act as an encouragement of women of the state. Prior to beginning her work for the Capitol, Oakley set out to England to conduct research for her murals. Upon return, she decided to center her artwork on William Penn and the founding of Pennsylvania. Oakley made sure that Penn's ideals of justice and peace could be seen throughout her work. In 1906, she completed 13 murals titled The Founding of the State of Liberty Spiritual and was placed in sequential order around the governor's reception room. These murals were some of the first to be installed in the Capitol. When Edwin Austin Abbey, another artist for the Capitol, died in 1911, Oakley was offered another opportunity to create murals for the unfinished Senate and Supreme Court chambers. Her work on the Senate murals, including International Understanding, was completed by 1919. Oakley then completed the Supreme Court murals, including the Divine Law, by 1927. Oakley is said to be the principal artist for the Capitol, with a total of 43 murals on display. She remains one of the greatest muralists in the United States. Now you know.
Welcome back to the program. I'm Representative Marcia Hahn. Today's topic is the importance of tourism in Pennsylvania, and my guest is Representative Jerry Stern. Now, we were just talking about some of your legislation that you had introduced last session. What do you think we can do better in Pennsylvania to promote tourism?
I think we need a constant theme. And one thing that's very difficult, as I indicated, governor after governor after governor after governor has given us different themes over the year. You know, you got a friend in PA and America starts here, and you know, we go through these different themes and different governors, and it's visit Pennsylvania, and you know, and so we try to figure out. You know, one time we always thought of Pennsylvania as a keystone state. It was on our license plates, but we don't have a common marketing theme, I believe, to sell the Commonwealth year in, year out. Something that people can think about Pennsylvania. You know, when you look at Virginia, Virginia is what? For lovers. You know, and New York. You think of New York, you think of a eye and a big heart. New York. I love New York. And so we just need to come up with a standard marketing theme that is driven really by the marketing people, the people that make their living professionally.
And not changing it
and
every
changing
4 or
it
8 years.
every new governor. And that's my biggest thing. Get it out of the hands of government, you know, as far as us. At one point in time, previous Governor Rendell had put this out as a contest. Okay, who wants to develop Pennsylvania's marketing theme? That's not the way to market the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Our industry is much too important, and it's much too valuable to be putting this into the hands of anyone to just come up with a marketing slogan for Pennsylvania. I mean, you can have that as part of a component to come up with something that you want to develop, but let the marketing people that do this professionally, do it for a living, promote Pennsylvania. And all of them working together have a invested strategic interest, because if Pennsylvania prospers, they prosper. So it's as simple as that. Let the people that make money and prosper market Pennsylvania as well. That's all I'm saying. Just get government out of, because we know how it is when we get to Harrisburg. Government thinks they know best, and truly, it's in the better hands of the people that do this on the front line.
Okay, earlier you had talked about TPAs. Let's tell the viewers a little bit about the TPAs, what they do, what they are. In the Lehigh Valley, we have the Lehigh Valley Tourism Association.
You have a tourism promotion agency, is what TPA stands for.
And I was just looking at one of the charts that we have here. Looks like in the Lehigh Valley, the tourism has grown and had an impact, an economic impact for the Lehigh Valley. Can you explain a little bit what the TPAs do?
Well, the TPAs basically, a lot of revenues. In past years, they used to get a lot of money from the state. Remember you mentioned a thing about funding and financing earlier? At one point in time, when Governor Ridge was in office, $44 million was budgeted that would go back to marketing Pennsylvania, not only at the state level, but some of that was used for grant money that would go back to the Lehigh Valley and also to Northampton, so you could market your region. That money was, some of that money is still being used, that is used and generated by the bed tax, the room tax, and that money goes into your local TPAs. What that does is advertise your region, okay? Remember I talked earlier about this being like a mall, Pennsylvania being a mall? Well, you have a store in the mall. You have your region, your area, and all the entities and all the different things that you want to bring people in to view, to see, to visit. You want visitors to travel there. Well, you're one place out of 67 counties in Pennsylvania. Every other region has something else they want to market as well. So it's a question of trying to get the resources. The Lehigh Valley, Northampton, is growing. And if you look at this chart that you have before you here, it was given to us by the Department of Community and Economic Development, but you've certainly increased from 2010 to 2011. Tourism is growing in your region by a pretty good margin. And it's not growing everywhere in Pennsylvania, but in most of these areas, there's some growth. But in your area, it's one of the bigger growth areas. So, what your local TPAs are doing, or what your local promotion people are doing in the Lehigh Valley, is working.
Good. I know one of the things that we have in the area recently opened is the Sands Casino. So I think that brings a lot of people to the Lehigh Valley from out of state and different areas. But I think that's something that would be good to promote other interests. So they come in, they can spend a weekend in the city or somewhere in the county, and then go out to see some of the areas that we talked about and promote other of the tourism attractions that we have in the Lehigh Valley. So I'm glad to see that we have a better economic impact in Northampton County.
Well, the other, you talked about bringing them in, and the Sands being a major player now and bringing a lot of people into the valley, but just think about some of those individuals. Maybe they come in by bus, some of them may drive in, but think about a bed and breakfast and things that could be marketed to the casino, where somebody could stay in a bed and breakfast and then go to the casino, or they could go to a rustic restaurant someplace, or one of your finer eateries in the area. Those places that people are looking for, those little gems that no one else knows about, and you know what they are. Your local people know who they are because they promote the region, so they know exactly where to once they get visitors in the valley and get them in Northampton, they know where to send them. So it's a question of getting them there so you can get them in those places to help your tourism industry grow.
Do you think, we had talked about agriculture and tourism and promoting the two. In the area, there's a lot of farms that have the pumpkin patches, or the wineries have the wine tasting, and I think those are all great tools or great things to have that we can promote as well, and do a package and get some packaging together. Do you think if we take this, if it goes to a private partnership, that they'll be able to promote that a little bit better?
I think that'd be a perfect partnership, because I'm working with our local people back in my area to promote ag tourism right now as well. You think about agriculture in Pennsylvania and you think about tourism, really interrelated. We think of Lancaster, because we think of the horse and buggies. We think of all the great food in Amish country, the quilts Everything they have to offer, I have the same thing in my area. You have the same thing in your area. There's no reason why, and we have people coming to Blair County now for the very same things. They think that we're a mini version of Lancaster County. So we're promoting ag tourism now in Blair County. And I'm trying to get my local tourism promotion agency and director to buy into that more. But he's the city guy and I'm a country guy, so I'm still working on him. But every time he sees me, he says, I'm thinking miniature Lancaster County. And I said, right. So.
Will they be working with the TPAs? There will be a state agency still working with the TPAs to promote this, or it'll be separate?
The state, if we get to the private-public partnership, they would be working with the local TPAs. The TPAs will all be represented on the board. Everyone, from the biggest to the smallest, will all be part of the partnership. So there'll be one of each member, representing all the TPAs. So all the regions will be represented, large, medium, and small, on the board. So that's why it's a nice mix. So even it won't benefit just the big areas like maybe Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, but it'll benefit all of us, even from the smallest county, whether it's Northampton or Blair.
And give us a chance to promote more than one, so we can work together and perhaps Lancaster and promote, well, while you're in Lancaster for the day, you can drive to Northampton County and have a route. I think there's a history trail that so lists different places, or the covered bridges. I know that's another thing that we promote to do. So that would be an interesting concept, and make sure that you can go to one area. You don't have to just stay in Lancaster or stay in Northampton County. You can do something different. So
well, you can tie it into different eras as well. You could tie it into a revolutionary era, and you mentioned the impact in your area. Area on that, but whether it's maybe it's a colonial or could even possibly be a Civil War era, and that ties into different places, in Pennsylvania as well. That would tie into not just Gettysburg, but a lot of other areas, Chambersburg and Hanover and Harrisburg, for example, because that was part of that battle in July of 1863.
All right. Now, I always find that promoting school students to come to Harrisburg, spend a day at the Capitol, just to see all the history and everything that's here. I think that more schools should come out here and take that trip. I just spoke to a school group. They're coming out in April, so they're all excited and they get to see different things, and I just think it's very worthwhile and very helpful. So.
When you look at the history and the heritage of the state capitol, not only the religious heritage of William Penn, but when you look around this building and you see not only the architecture, but the murals. I bring people here all the time and I show them the 43 murals that Violet Oakley painted in the state capitol. She did the governor's reception room, she did the Supreme Court chamber, and she did the complete state senate. So 43 murals she painted from 1902 to 1927. And that's back before women were supposed to be commissioned to paint.
I was just reading about her in Women's History. It was Women's History Month, so that was something else that I was reading about. But
she also was a promoter of women's suffrage and women's right to vote. 1920, of course, was when the amendment was passed. She helped to get that done. Her theme, a lot of in the Supreme Court chamber, is about international peace. And she was an advocate for peace. She met 4 presidents later on. They were on first-name basis. Quite a remarkable woman and quite a trendsetter for women in this country. And so she's one of the people that I look up to and that I highlight all the time. I show people her paintings and I show them what she was all about. So when you talk about the Capitol, it's a treasure that is priceless. And when you bring children here, school children and adults, they're totally amazed by our beautiful Capitol.
They are. Every day when I go into the Capitol and go into to our chamber, I think, wow, it's just amazing, the artwork and everything that's there. But that's all the time we have for today. If you have any questions about this or any other legislative issue, please contact me through my Nazareth District office. The information will be shown in a moment. I'm State Representative Marcia Hahn. I want to thank Representative Stern for being here today. Thanks for joining me on Legislative Report.
Thank you.
Thank you.